All right now, reach, 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 reach. May blinked her eyes awake in the sound of an unfamiliar voice, urging for her to reach. She did not know what it was or what she needed to reach for, but the familiar tape of the carpet reminded her that she was in the Warringtons' basement. There were no windows in her room. Glassy, white sunlight drifted under the doors from her bed. She patted her bedclothes down for their phone, retrieving it from her pocket of her. No, there were Germ's pajama bottoms, and she was at the time was around 9:34 in the morning. The time May got up early was for college. Now, what do you want to do next is search as high as you can go, the voice said from the other room. May dimly remembered Germ telling her that his older sister exercised on the weekends. Why anyone would spend a precious free time sweating, grunting, and a complete mystery to her. Then yet again, her mindset could also explain of her own chubby figure. May rolled over and closed her eyes. It seemed that her body had already decided it was time to start the day. As the black, muffled haze up top of her sleep refused to come back to her, she did not go to bed much earlier than usual, thanks to the exhaustion of the Selmers' company, so it made sense for her for that body to get ready all at rest as she needed. She didn't make it less annoying. May rolled over out of her bed and stretched, Germ's small t-shirt hiking up to her torso, and she raised her arms. She could barely believe that she was someone punnier than her. The cat in her room went into the bathroom, an unpleasant spark of reminder fizzing in her brain that what she needed was to brought little that she brought with her. This was all she had left in the world, her phone and some toiletries. She even thanked the lucky stars and her manager for paying her electronically, so she didn't lose all of her savings in the fire. But the money she had available was a clump of change in the proportion of all of her things would needed to be replaced. She swallowed and pushing and growing a hollow, feeling the back into her stomach for now. She had been brushing her teeth. After freshening up and changing into the next set of Germ's clothes, May then went out for the sitting room, or rather the basement sitting room, still baffled about May and how big Germ's house was. She sat on the couch, looking at 7 or 8 remotes sitting on the small wicker in the basement of the nightstand. One of those might have turned on the chalkboard-sized television, but she wasn't in the mood to watch anything. Her eyelids heavy, despite her body not being tired. "Oh, good morning." May jumped slightly at the unfamiliar voice lighting the room. A door on the other side of the room, past the pool table, stood open, revealing an older bird standing with one leg but her arms raised in the air. Apparently the exercise room had 2 entrances. "I got in after midnight," the bird said, turning on the speakers and played the exercise mantra Maiden had earlier, stepping out into the sitting room. "I'm Eve Wharton, Jeremy's older sister." Eve had at least a blue-green plumage under which stood much taller than Jerem. She was quite pretty, but May could tell that she had some hard work, and there was no way her bosom wouldn't be perfect for her naturality. She wore a pink tank top and university sweatpants. Hi, it's nice to meet you," May said, keeping her gaze laser on Eve's eyes for fear, drifting some elsewhere. She did not, it wasn't even about creeping out on everyone else's siblings, but oversized boobs were admittedly quite distracting. "Daddy told me of what happened with Arson Possum Springs," Eve said, putting her hands on her hips with a fluttery sigh. "Whatever happened to the loving one's neighborhood?" I don't know," May stammered. "Well, we're here to help you recover." "Is the rest of your family okay?" Eve asked, tilting her head like a curious dog. "They're all right. I mean, not happy, but they are glad I didn't die," May said with a nervous laugh. Eve joined in with her rather own girlish giggle. "I'm glad you're alive too. Jeremy is always so quiet about his friends. Did you know that the first person he has ever brought to you over to our house?" "Really?" May asked, wasn't too surprised. Greg had never been over there, and he was definitely the closest person to Germ. "Really? For some reason, for someone who spends too much little time at home, he's so aloof." Eve then checked her phone and gave it a dainty gasp, pressing her head on her neck, hand on her cheek. "Oh dear, would you look at the time? I better get going. Ta-ta!" Eve patted May on the head and returned to her exercise room, humming and swaying her hips with a bounce and with one step. May immediately texted Greg. "Dude, Germ's older sister is weird. She's like Snow White or something," she typed out. Greg responded shortly after. I mean, this is Germ we're talking about. His whole family is probably a bit loopy. And this house is effing huge. Like, I'm staying in the basement, but it's... Hold on a sec, I'll send you a pic. May snapped a picture of the sitting room and captioned it, "This is the basement." Wow, that's even better than our apartment. Ask him when I could come. I don't think I've even explored it. Waiting to find the secret passages and the swimming pool, May typed. Have you ever asked his folks how they can afford all this? Greg inquired. He just said it wasn't a big deal, but I'm gonna ask him today. I'm kinda afraid to go upstairs, May replied. Why? His grandma wigs me out. She's like, let me ask if I'm a communist or something. Some rapid footsteps echoed faintly in the stairwell. Germ appearing landed with a long-sleeved green skating shirt and black jeans, and a tuft of black, dark blue plumage out of the spot where he would usually wear his cap. Hey, May, want some Pop-Tarts? He asked. I don't think I've ever seen you hatsless, Germ, May said. Well, we have some more flavored ones, apple cinnamon ones, Germ replied. Cinnamon apple, please? Okay, come up and then you can put them in the toaster, Germ said, heading back upstairs. I don't toast mine, May said, following Germ out of the basement. I just eat them right out of the silver thing. Germ spun around at the top of the stairs, the light from the doorway behind them creating an almost angelic effect. You eat raw Pop-Tarts? He asked, curious. Yeah, May said, they're good. It's okay to be wrong. Grandma was in the recliner, and it was the last time May saw her. Engrossed out by the gigantic novel, Germ's little sister, seated in the kitchen counter, looked up from the Mays in the magazine who were reading stuff simultaneously, waving at May. Hey, Miss Hobo, one of them said. We're just reading about guns, another chopped in, holding up the magazine, which had a large advertisement for a pistol. Nice, May said, smiling a bit. Germ went over to the party and then handed May a package of Pop-Tarts, which she began to unwrap. Don't you forget the crumbs on the bag, Grandma snapped, nearly making May drop the pastries. Don't your mama teach you not to open food over the sink? It's okay, Grandma. Dad eats stuff over there all the time, one of the twins said. Okay, my Fanny, but there is a rig on this antique, and straight out of the Pirza, your father does not respect anything of this goddamn house, Grandma replied. Pirza doesn't exist anymore, Grandma, the other twin said. They call it now Iran, my teacher said. Watch your sass, Riley, Grandma warned, picking up the nearby drink coaster. From where I'm sitting, I could hit you with this. I'm Rebecca, the twin said. She's Riley. What are those antiques, you two? The other twin said, apparently Riley asked. These are... your grandfather bought these at the flea market. I doubt they were worth for a dime each. May then quietly related to her sink and to eat her Pop-Tarts. Germ quietly taking the opportunity to pull on his sneakers. Miss Hobo, what were you crying last night? Rebecca asked. May chowed down her food for a while, trying to think of a way how to respond without frightening the twins. Then again, this was Germ's family, so it wasn't too much of a stretch that they would believe the worst thing than a house fire. They were reading a gun magazine, after all. Well, I was in a fire, and lots of things that are important to me got destroyed, May said. The girls then bombarded May with questions, somehow managed not to talk over each other. How did it happen? How hot was it? Where do you live? Did you get cool scars? Grandma dropped the book on her lap, glaring at the twins. Good Lord, you two. Where's your sense of tact? You better get no business asking that poor girl all she's been through. It's fine, May said, trying not to mention how Grandma interrogated her last night. Not like I'm going to forget anyway. It's also May, and I'm not a whole hobo. Well, but I thought you were homeless, but your house got burned down, Rebecca declared, throwing her arms in the air. It didn't burn all the way down. It was just really my room, May explained. So you were smoking in bed? Riley asked. Grandma said people that smoke in bed are the more reasons fires start. I don't smoke. My friend B let me try a cigarette once, and I really nearly hurled, May replied. We know B, the twin said. You do? May asked. Sure. Germ that works for her sometimes, Riley said. I think she's cool. I saw her fixing a hummy thing on the playground last year, Rebecca added. Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. She's fixed that monster? May realized that Rebecca was talking about the huge conditioner attached to the elementary school. It was near the playground by the curvy slide. It just made the trombone's rumbling sound whenever it was activated, frightening anybody that happened to be nearby. "That girl," Grandma muttered. May felt a twinge of anger. She could take insults thrown at her away, but no one got away with the bad mouthing her friends except her. "What's wrong with her?" May asked, and her tone was so unpleasant that she could only be angry. Grandma only met May's fake smile with a neutral expression. The two stared at each other for a while before Grandma looked back at her book. "Well, that girl does work harder than anyone else in town. I ain't the one of them of her age to hear the salvage away like the others. Her daddy must be real proud." May then held her tongue at a time, and she had a few choices about Mr. Santio, about what they left unsaid, especially around the kids. "Ready to go, May?" Germ appeared at the base of the stairs with his usual nylon jacket zipped up with a black cap perched on top of his head. "Sure, but where are we going?" May asked. "Greg's and he and Angus want to see you, and I want to play Dark Scouts free," Germ explained. "Kay," May said as she ate the rest of her Pop-Tart in her mouth, speaking through it, "I'm gonna get my boofs." She then pointed out her boots, and then Germ gave her a confused blink. "For heaven's sake, chew your food, girl," Grandma cried. "And Jeremy, don't you wander around after dark. Promise your grandma you'll be home by sundown." "Stick a needle in my eye," Germ replied, giving his grandmother a brief hug goodbye. "Follow me, May." A little bird opened the door into the balcony outside. "Bye, Miss Hobo," the twin said, waving at her. "Bye, Germ's sisters," May said with her own wave and smirk. She then went out onto the balcony, Germ then shutting the door behind them, and the balcony provided at least a view of Germ's backyard. Steady down slope of the log, tangled in the grass and even leading to a thicket of pine trees. May's brow wrinkled with confusion as she realized that there was no staircase or any other means of how to get down from the balcony. "Germ, what are we to do? What are we gonna do?" May's question was dissolved with a gasp before, and the free brief time that they'd been out of nowhere. Germ had already climbed to the balcony railing, and May witnessed him jump out of sight. At least 2 drops down from the earth below, May dashed down the balcony and looked straight down. The bird then landed shoulder first on the large black disc that bounced up and down, and the sound of creaking springs that made a swift mid-turn and uncafed on his rear end. "Come on, it's fun!" Germ hollered up from the trampoline, a faint smile ghosting across the beak. May caught her breath, and she glared at her friend. "You're scared the crap out of me," she cried. "You know there's such thing as a door, right?" "Well, my bike's down here," Germ replied, scooting down off the trampoline, then looked up at May. Tucking his hands into his pockets, May took a sharp breath before climbing onto the railing and looking down at the trampoline. She would have fallen safer if she'd jumped to the river band with Germ in November, but since this was guaranteed a soft landing, but it was a much larger drop, if she had somehow missed, she'd be searching for all of her shattered teeth in the grass. From where she stood, the trampoline looked quite small. "Do you trust me?" Germ then asked this question before he leapt off of the bridge last autumn. She had trusted him then, and she couldn't have seen if he was still alive. Now here he was, looking up at her without a glimmer of worry. He then let May into his house and given her clothes. Yeah, and the thought of it. She did trust Germ, a lot. With a shriek, she flung herself down off the balcony, a cool morning air whistling past through her ears and rustling through her clothing. She tilted backwards in midair and landed on her butt. With the springs on the trampoline yelping with surprise, May's largest frame, the cat was launched up a good 6 feet upward, flailing her arms in for the balcony away as it could have made Greg proud. She ended up landing on her back, bouncing 2 more bounces before coming to a stop. May burst out laughing as she soon shook the shock wore off, kicking her feet in the air. Germ was laughing at her, something May had never seen before. He had a high, fluttery laugh. "You good?" Germ asked within a moment. "I'm good. That was great," May replied. "Is that how you practice jumping off the bridge or something? Because this is quite insane." "No, I did that before I even got the trampoline. Come on, I want to show you my bike." Germ led May over to a small little alcove beneath her porch. There was a silver bicycle tethered to one of the wooden posts with a fancy-looking combination lock. Shiny. Don't most people leave theirs in like a garage? Not to stomp on your family's traditions or anything. "Not enough room in my garage," Germ said, entering the combination lock with one thumb. "Dad and Sean needed space for their car stuff." "Sean?" May asked. My oldest brother. He's on a road crew in Saltstown, Germ said. Germ, how many people live at your house? May asked. Well, me, Mom, Pop, Grandma, Eve, Sean, Purge, Rebecca, and Riley. 9 people. What the actual hell? I'm not sleeping in someone's bed, am I? May asked. Nah, we have a basement for guests only. Germ unlatched his bicycle and hopped aboard. You could take Eve's bike. Germ then pointed at another bicycle tethered to a wooden post. Before May get the chance to ask if it was okay to borrow Eve's things, he was already pedaling up the hill to the front yard. May grabbed the handlebars and hoisted herself onto the taller bike, having to duck to avoid having her head on the balcony above her. Some fidgeting in the seat. She figured out how low enough she could really reach the pedals and began following Germ. It happened forever since she went bike riding, but it felt so good as she remembered. Possum Springs was nearly a flat town, meaning that she could glide around just about anywhere on a bike without having to stop up too many inclines. The only hill that May could remember was the maple street right by her house, and even then, that hill was like a cake compared to a payoff in the rocketing down the top speed. She and Greg used to race up the top of the hill and then race all the way back down, almost half a dozen times in a row. Sure, they got honked by passing cars, and Greg crashed into a telephone pole, but that did not stop them. What the family stopped May was when she skidded down the curb and launched into Mr. Twigmeyer's gardener in a bush. She was unscathed, but she had propped up their front tire at the front, and her parents had no idea how to replace it, so she stopped riding. Germ was then riding lazily on the circles on the bottom of the driveway, coming to a stop as May coasted beside him. Try not to ditch me, okay? May said. Yup, follow me, Germ said, kicking off the driveway at the pedals in front of May. He handed the bicycle with the grace of dancer, every moment looking fluid, deliberate. May kept the illustrious speed behind him, enjoying Germ's little performance. So I ran into your sister this morning, May said. She seems pretty chill. Germ then performed a seamless U-turn, looping through around May and riding alongside her. Eve thinks about, well, you could probably guess a lot. X-rated something. Me too, dude, May replied. Like all the time, she used to get in trouble for it at school, Germ said, gliding around the plot hole. So you do get in trouble for thinking about sex? May asked. She used to skip class to be with boys, and she got busted for having something gross in her backpack, Germ said. She got suspended for a week, and the guys at school used to tease me about it. Oh, geez, I'm sorry to hear that. It's okay. She still talks to the doctor every month, but she's better now, Germ said. Make a sudden right turn. This way. May took a look down at the clean dirt path road. It's pretty nice out here. I didn't know they would make a bike trail, she said, looking up at the flashes of the sunlight through the black forest canopy. Of course, Perch and I cleared it a few summers ago. I got really bad poison ivy on my eyelid. Have you ever thought about kissing friends? Well, have I? Whoa! May ducked and she hanging a low branch just in time, twisting the handlebars of her bike with a loud screech and toppling to the earth. In front of Evie's bicycle rinked in the air as May dusted herself off. I forgot that this branch was still there, Germ said, riding up beside May. And I am only getting one dirty over clothesline, May said, picking up Eve's bicycle and checking for damage. Well, it looks good to me, Germ said, taking what she couldn't be moving and a glance at the bicycle. I can lead it if you want. Wait, Germ, wait, May demanded, waving her paws about. What did you ask me before? Germ had to think for a moment. Oh yeah, have you ever thought about kissing friends? Sure, but why? May asked. I'll tell you why. The way. Germ kicked off the forest boots and began paddling, May stammering before giving a chase. He was quiet for a moment or two before they was speaking up. I've never been kissed by anyone before, like really kissed, and sometimes I think about what it would be like if I kissed Greg or Angus. Dude, that's like the normalest thing on the planet. I've got a lot about it though. What do you think it would be like? Germ asked. Nice, I guess. Angus would probably feel all fuzzy, and Greg's got, well, shaggier hair. You could always ask Greg. He's like the chillest. Nah, I didn't want him to think I'm gay, Germ said. So what if you are? Bee's the only one in our crew that is straight, and even though she is open to the experimentation. Why? Germ asked. I'll tell you all later. What's so bad thinking about if you're gay? I don't know if I'm gay, Germ replied, And if I am, they think they'll get upset and turn out on me. Me. What? That makes no sense, May cried. People always yell at each other online if it happens, Germ said. Yeah, online, and a lot of people hide online because they can say whatever they want about anyone, and not even know in real life that how rotten they are. May peeled her harder and rode up alongside Germ. Dude, none of us would even care if you turn out to be gay or bi or whatever, or if you change your mind. It's all part of getting old. So you would kiss me? Germ asked. May blinked, looking at Germ. She was met by his neutral expression. Impossible to lead anything averted but this person, anything crazy, but whatever they just said. No, May said, glancing her from side to side. I mean, I can't. I got Salmers. Okay, sorry, Germ said, looking back at the trail. No, wait a second, May said. Where did that come from, Germ? And how do you know me and Salmers? I know, but I don't know any other girls. Like, I didn't kiss them. I just want a kiss between friends, Germ said. A kiss between friends, May repeated, as long as she were a patient repeating the bizarrely named disease that the doctor contracted. Just once, no tongue or lip biting or anything, Germ explained. Germ, May squeezed her handbrakes on the bike, grinding to a stop on the ground dirt. And Germ then stopped his round, looking back at her. Look, Duder, you're great for a guy to let me stay with you and stuff. I'll just do whatever you need, but if you talk about anything with you, crap, I'll start paying my rent. But if I can't just kiss you, I'll be kissing someone behind my girlfriend's back, which is pretty scummy, even if I didn't think of it. It might have been even worse that way. You're the only one of the badass people I know, but if I kiss you, I could lose Summers, and I've already lost a good bit. Germ then dug into her shirt, in the dirt, and with a toe on one of his shoes. Sorry. It's alright, dude, May said, not wanting to make eye contact with the bird. You can talk to me whatever you need. The two kept rolling on, keeping silent for the rest of the trip.